Introducing CEO and co-founder Jack Dorsey.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you all for spending time with us. It's an honor to be here in your presence. I just want to point out, this is the first Twitter shirt we ever made. I have 7 of them. Wear one for every day of the week. We have a great day. We have a number of our partners coming up, a number of our developers, and we have a number of great tools to share with you all. I wanted to start by just talking a little bit about what Twitter is and what it means for the world. All of you know the significance of Hello World. This is the first thing that we do when we want to learn how to program. And I think this perfectly captures what Twitter means. Twitter is one of the fastest ways to say something to the world. It's also the fastest way to see what the entire world is saying about any topic. Fundamentally, Twitter is a simple messaging service. That is what people have used it for. That is how we started. And today, it's still fundamentally a simple messaging service. But what's unique about Twitter is how people made it their own. Twitter is truly a service that was made for the people and also by the people. Within 140 characters, people came to our service and they invented new ways of communicating with each other. The @name by Robert Anderson, the hashtag by Chris Messina, the retweet, who I first learned of from Tim O'Reilly, and the tweet storm, which everyone loves, from Mark Andreessen. All of these became cultural movements, global cultural movements, so massive that other services also had to implement them. And they all started on Twitter. And developers made them even better. Developers took to our service from day one and made Twitter a much more global reach. They did cool things like hooking up a plant that tweeted every time it needed water. They made Tamagotchis that you could actually play with and communicate with through tweets. Just recently, someone hooked up a pothole to Twitter, and every time a car ran over it, it would tweet a complaint to the local government. This is what we want to see a whole lot more of, and something we absolutely love and really speaks to the power of what Twitter is. But somewhere along the line, our relationship with developers got a little bit complicated, a little bit confusing, a little bit unpredictable. This culminated with what Anil Dash has named the Matrix of Doom. And we want to come to you today and first and foremost apologize for our confusion. We want to reset our relationship. And we want to make sure that we are learning, that we are listening, and that we are rebooting. And that's what today represents. We want to make sure that we have a great relationship with our developers. We have an open and honest and transparent relationship, and that we're fulfilling and serving every one of your needs. Twitter is truly unique because it is a brand, a bird, a logo that pretty much every single person on this planet has seen at one point in their life. And most importantly, it stands for something. Twitter stands for freedom of expression, and we will not rest until that's recognized as a global, fundamental human right. Twitter stands for speaking truth to power, and we see this every single day around the world, most recently with the community and hashtag Black Lives Matter. And Twitter empowers dialogue, conversation that the world needs to see and the world needs to have, most recently with the hashtag I look like an engineer. We also need to have a better conversation with our developer community, with all of you in the room. One of the reasons I believe great developers like you come to Twitter is because of what we stand for. And we can't stand alone. We need your help. We need the help of everyone in this room. In order to earn that help, we have a responsibility to you all. We have a responsibility to communicate our roadmap in a clear and transparent way to everyone in this community. We have a responsibility to have an open dialogue with you all to make sure that we are serving you in the best way. And we have a responsibility to continue to empower organizations that bring more transparency to public dialogue, such as organizations like Politwoops. We need to make sure that we're serving all of those organizations and all of our developers in the best way, because that is what is going to make Twitter great. We need to listen, we need to learn, and we need to have this conversation with you. And we want to start that today. One of the things we would love for you all to do is to tweet at us what you would like to see in Twitter, what you would like to see us do more of, what you would like to see us reconsider, what you would like us to change in our policy. Tweet with the hashtag #HelloWorld. We will take all of these ideas, all of this input, and make decisions over time to make sure that our platform is something that you are all proud of and that you want to use more and more. It's going to take some time. It's not going to happen overnight, but I commit to you that we will make the right decisions and serve this community in the right way. Twitter is the most revolutionary communications tool of our time, and we want to make sure that we continue to build it and make it great together with you. Thank you very much for coming today, and enjoy the program. Thank you.
Introducing Senior Director of Product, Jeff Seibert.
There are over 1,500 developers in attendance today. Thank you so much for coming. We're sorry we heard there's some lines, but we made it all inside and are super excited to get started. There are also many of you from over 30 countries around the world, so I wanted to take a moment and welcome you all to San Francisco for those who traveled. Thank you so much. Now, we have a ton to talk about today, and we're just getting started. And so I want to dive right in, starting with the Twitter product that you all know and love. Now, earlier this month, we launched Moments, a whole new way to explore Twitter. Moments are the best way to stay in touch with the world, whether you're seeking breaking news or sports recaps, or maybe you're just trying to get caught up on pop culture during the evening commute. And the reaction has been fantastic. We could not be happier. BuzzFeed called Moments a living, breathing look into the heart of Twitter. So today, we're making Twitter not just a great way to keep up with your world, but also a great way to engage with your world, with polls. People have been running polls on Twitter for a long time, using retweets and faves, but everyone who favorited Chris's tweet here is right. There has to be a better way. And so, a few weeks ago, we started experimenting with a new way to poll people on Twitter and working with some of our partners, and the results were amazing. This SportsCenter poll had over 86,000 participants. It's just one tap to vote, privately, of course, and then you see the results as they currently stand. Today, I'm very excited to announce that everyone will be able to create polls. We're rolling these out over the next few days, starting with everyone here in this room, and it could not be easier. When you go to compose a tweet, you tap the new polls icon, you can add questions, 2 choices, the poll will run for 24 hours, and when it closes, all of the participants will be sent a notification so they can come back and see the results. It's such a simple way to engage everyone on Twitter. And so we can't wait to see how all of you start using the new Twitter polls. I'd also like to welcome back an old friend. We've been hard at work on a newly updated and totally revamped Twitter for Mac, and I'd like to show it to you now. So the new Twitter for Mac has been designed for El Capitan. It's absolutely beautiful. We have inline Vine and video playback. We have group DMs, finally. We have photos and inline reply. And Twitter for Mac now also adds highlights to your notification center. And so you can always stay up to date with the very best of Twitter right at a glance. And, of course, it looks great in dark mode. So we're still putting the finishing touches on this release, but stay tuned for a launch later this year. So that's a quick update on the Twitter product. I wanted to move on and turn our attention to why all of you are here with us today. And that, of course, is developers. What are we doing for developers? What do we have in store? Well, we've spent the past year as a team focused on 3 big areas. The first probably isn't a surprise. We all know that apps have taken over the world. But 2015 was the first year in the United States that internet traffic came more from native mobile than from the web on either desktop or mobile devices. It's really incredible. There's no doubt that native mobile apps deliver superior performance, that take full advantage of hardware network capacity, and people everywhere strongly prefer those experiences. The second theme is that every voice matters. Jack talked about this. They matter more and more every day. As the world becomes increasingly connected, everyone's voice grows louder and more influential, and we see global trends and stories triggered by the first eyewitness, or a loyal fan, or a single passionate changemaker. This is the content that now powers our world. And the third theme is the rise of data. The next generation of great companies are and will be built on big data, and the more quickly they can turn that data into actionable insights or find the needle in the haystack, the more successful they will be. So apps, content, and data. Together, these are the building blocks that power businesses of all sizes, from the one-person company just started this morning in a garage to the latest addition to the Fortune 500. And these are where we have invested our time and energy over the past year to ensure that all of you have all the tools you need to build, to create, to reinvent, or to serve all of these great businesses. And so we're going to focus our time this morning on diving deep into each of these and share the latest with Fabric, our mobile app developer platform, with embedded tweets, the easiest way to access the world's best content, and of course, GNIP, our enterprise data platform. So let's dive in and start talking about Fabric. Now, we launched Fabric a year ago, right on this stage, and it's been quite the year. RDO depends on Fabric, calling it simple and intuitive. They love how it lets them manage all their apps from a single dashboard. Under Armour feels the same. They use Fabric because they can trust it to help them, rather than cause problems with their apps, and they're not alone. In just the past 12 months, almost 250,000 developers have signed up for Fabric, and Fabric is actively used today on well over 1 billion mobile devices worldwide. We've been incredibly happy with the response. So where do we go from here? Well, today Fabric features 4 kits: Crashlytics, Digits, MoPub, and TwitterKit. And today we have some exciting updates to share for each, and a whole lot more to tell you about as well. So let's start with Crashlytics, our our crash detection and error reporting tool for iOS and Android. Its scale is absolutely immense. In just the past 30 days, Crashlytics processed over 18 billion crashes. That's about 3 for every person on Earth. And just last month, Google announced that there are 1.4 billion active Android devices worldwide today. Well, I'm pleased to share that just in the past 30 days, Crashlytics was installed on 1.325 billion of them. We're on substantially every active mobile device. That's incredible. And it shouldn't be a surprise. We've been amazed. Thank you. Hopefully this isn't a surprise. Many of you all use Crashlytics, and it turns out that we're a trusted component of nearly every major app across both stores today. So we couldn't be happier. Today, I'm excited to announce some major upgrades for Crashlytics customers. The first is what we're calling regression detection, and I'm excited to show it to you now. So Crashlytics now groups issues across releases, showing you explicitly which versions of your app have been impacted and by how much, so that you can very quickly find the root of the problem and understand which portions of your user base are being impacted. And now, when you close an issue, Crashlytics keeps watching out for it. And if we ever detect that an issue has returned, you'll be notified immediately so that you can go and investigate the problem. You can also click the lock icon for obscure bugs that you want to get rid of and never plan on fixing. Next is one of our top customer requests, iOS error logging. We shipped exception handling for Android last year, and today we're pleased to announce support for iOS error logging, because crashes aren't the only thing you care about. In fact, it turns out crashes are often only the tip of the iceberg and are obscuring bigger problems in your app. Your app may be suffering from issues that crash reporting alone would never capture. And it couldn't be easier. Recording an NS error is now just a single line of code, and you'll see it and be able to manage them on your Crashlytics dashboard. The next is another huge customer request on the gaming side. So last year at Flight, we launched Android NDK support for native Android development, and the response has been great, but we didn't stop there. We heard loud and clear from developers everywhere that they wanted Crashlytics to support more game engines. And so today, we're proud to announce another major platform. We're adding support for Unity, which is the most popular gaming IDE today. And as you would expect, it couldn't be easier to use. So you go right, oops, there we go. Great. And so it couldn't be easier to use. Just like our Xcode and Android Studio integrations, the Fabric Unity plugin takes just seconds to install, and you can add Crashlytics to your game in literally just a couple clicks. We've been really, really happy with this. We did not stop with just Crashlytics. We're also rolling out Unity support for TwitterKit and MoPub as well, so that you can build your entire business around your game on Fabric. And so we've been working with a bunch of partners in developing this, and 2 Dots has been fantastic. They've been using our Unity support and love it. They love how easy it is to implement. All right, one more announcement on the Crashlytics side. I'm sure you're all aware, Apple recently announced the latest addition to their family of devices, the revamped Apple TV running tvOS. And today, we're excited to announce the preliminary tvOS support for Crashlytics as well. So your apps are protected no matter how big of a screen they're running on. Awesome. So that's a quick summary of what's new with Crashlytics. We have regression detection, iOS error logging, and support for Unity and tvOS. And the best news is that these are available today as part of our Fabric Labs program. So you can go sign up here, and we'll be releasing them broadly soon. So that's Crashlytics. Now, last year, we launched a mobile analytics tool called Answers as part of Crashlytics. And today, it's actually graduating. We're excited to announce that we're going to separate it out into its own kit to make it even easier to find and install. And there's strong reason to. Developers have loved Answers because it could not be easier to use. It's one click to turn on, and after just a few seconds of processing, your dashboard is there and ready to use. We show you your daily active users, monthly active users, the new users you're getting, your stability, and right at the top, there's your real-time actives. How many people are using your app right now as you're looking at the dashboard? This is fantastic for launch days when you really want to see how a new release is doing. And so the dashboards are live and beautiful. They make it easy to get the critical information you need when you need it. You don't have to toggle anything or use any filter or whatever. And so we like to call this opinionated analytics. We give you what you need right when you need it. And it's had quite the year. In just the past 30 days, Answers processed about 198 billion app sessions. And just last month, SourceDNA named Answers the #1 mobile analytics tool on iOS. We're very, very happy about that. So earlier this year, we shipped Answers events to help you go beyond the basics, so you could really understand how your app is being used. Right out of the box, we gave you a bunch of automatic events that you can track. For example, with an e-commerce app, you might want to record a purchase event or an add to cart event to really understand your checkout flow. But you also want to track the special metrics that make your app unique. And so for that, Answers lets you define your own custom events, as you would expect, and track them using the same dashboard you know and love. But we aren't stopping there. Today, we have a huge upgrade for Answers customers as well. And we're calling this Audience Insights. Because knowing how your app is performing isn't quite enough. You also really want to know more about who is using your app in order to get the complete picture. And so Audience Insights does that. We now give you a demographic breakdown and the key interests of your audience. And so leveraging Twitter's robust data sets, we can now give you a deeper understanding of who's using your app. At a glance, you can see the gender breakdown, geo information, and people's top interests. But we wanted to go deeper, and so we even share what makes your audience unique versus the average app audience that we see, so that you can really understand how people are finding your app. And it goes deeper. Within Answers events, you can also now see how people take certain actions are different from your typical audience. And so this is essential in understanding who is most likely to buy something in your app or who you should be marketing to. So that's what's new with Answers. Now, as I've said, we've been working with tons of app developers on developing these new features, and I'd like to pause for a moment and highlight one of them for you now. And that is the NBA. Please join me in welcoming Melissa Brenner. She's the Senior Vice President of Digital for the NBA, up on stage. So I have a few questions for you. I noticed the NBA does a ton of experimentation with the latest technologies.
Sure.
What's the thinking behind that? What kind of results are you seeing?
Sure. Well, a lot of our thinking has to do directly with our commissioner, Adam Silver, who has the vision to bring the world courtside. And what that means is we have millions, hundreds of millions of fans around the world, and our job is to use digital technology, especially partners like Twitter, to bring that fan courtside, meaning that the experience of seeing a game up close, to hear the point guard calling a play, to hear the crowd cheering, see the dance team, see the mascot, that experience is amazing. And we want to work with Twitter and other partners to bring that experience to fans around the world.
That's awesome. So yeah, how does the NBA see Twitter as a platform?
Sure. Twitter's become the world's digital water cooler. Sports is an inherently social event. You want to talk to your friends about it. You want to celebrate successes of your favorite team, commiserate in losses, and maybe talk a little bit of trash. But what we've seen that's really interesting is beyond being a digital water cooler that's really coincides with the live game experience, we've seen players post about their everyday lives. So just in the past few days, LeBron James posted a photo of his team going out for pizza before the season. Tony Allen, who plays for the Memphis Grizzlies, posted a photo of his all-defensive team trophy coming in the mail and how excited he was for the start of season. And then Russell Westbrook shared a photo wishing his teammate and friend Kevin Durant a happy birthday. And that's the great experiences that exist every day on Twitter that we want to bring in using Fabric into our NBA app and share those with fans around the world.
Very cool. Well, speaking of Fabric, actually, how is the NBA using Fabric?
Sure. Well, we're integrating it two ways. One is within the game experience, because as I said, sports is an inherently social event. So if you want to know statistics about what's going on, insight, access, see a photo of or video of Kobe Bryant from the Lakers coming off the team bus before a game. It's that sort of access moments that we want to make as easy and seamlessly as possible for our fans to discover. And then we want to hear from fans. Fans have really interesting insights into the game, and to share those within our app makes the experience that much better.
Awesome. Well, this is fantastic. Thank you so much, Melissa.
Thank you again.
It's been
Thanks,
a great
Jeff.
partnership.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Enjoy
you.
flight. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Melissa. That is awesome. Well, and that's an update on answers, and so we're going to keep moving right along. Let's move on and talk about digits. Now, we launched Digits 12 months ago on this stage, and we've seen an outpouring of interest from all of you. Developers have embraced Digits to solve the hardest challenges they faced around identity, and we're very excited to expand that today. So developers were telling us they needed a simple, reliable, global way to log people into their apps. They needed to defend their customers from fraud and spam and abuse by using phone verification for two-factor auth. And they wanted to help people find and connect with their friends in their apps. And Digits makes all of this simple. The Digits login experience is fantastic. Here, Uplike has recommended that their users connect with their phone. It launches right into the Digits flow. And they've even themed it with their Purple branding, so it fits perfectly into their experience. The person enters their phone number, they're sent an SMS confirmation code, and they're able to continue and start using Uplike. And the entire thing here is only a few lines of code. You create a Digits button here in Swift, you add it to your view, and you handle the completion. That's really it. The session object gives you a user ID and their verified phone number. But Digits isn't just for login. You could also use it as a verification flow. And so here you could add it to your app's account profile screen using a text field and enable one-tap phone verification to add to their profile. And starting today, Digits supports email verification as well. And so when we launched Digits last year, the feedback we heard, the #1 request we heard from everyone was, well, how can you help us move from our email and password-based login system we're using today to the future? We need a way to tie these accounts together. And so now, you as the developer can optionally request the person's email address when they sign in, and Digits will verify that email address for you and hand it back to you. So now you have an easy way of tying all of your accounts together. And finally, of course, Digits is great for friend finding. It powers address book upload and matching, so with just a few lines of code, it's trivial to let people see which of their friends are also playing your game already, or find the right people to invite them to join. And so that's the latest with Digits. And that's just the first 3 kits. So we're going to keep going and dive into MoPub. And for this, I'd like to hand the stage over to Kate.
Introducing Senior Director of Client Services for MoPub, Kate Herbert.
Once you've built your high-quality app with all those great tools that Jeff just talked about, you're going to have to think about how to create an audience and how to monetize your app. In short, you're going to want to build a great business around that app. Building a business is a journey. It's a journey of decisions woven over time. With that idea of decisions and time, it's very relevant today, as many of you may know, is Back to the Future Day. With that in mind, I'm going to take you time traveling back to the year 1955, to this same block, and to the same building that houses Twitter headquarters today. And I'm going to introduce you to a man who built a great business here in San Francisco. My dad, Bill Herbert. So he worked, you don't have to clap for my dad. He worked in what was called the Western Merchandise Mart. It was a place where buyers and sellers came together in one physical marketplace. His showroom was on the 7th floor. I remember it well. He did a lot of business in that showroom. And what he loved about it is that all the buyers came to him. And in one place, he could showcase his furniture inventory. He could open the doors to buyers. He could write orders, all in one place. So let's jump back to the present, where today, in that same building across the street, on the same floor, there's a very different type of marketplace. And there's a different Herbert, me. It's called the MoPub Marketplace, where developers like you can enjoy that flexibility and control of how you want to display your inventory, offer engaging ad formats, and open your doors to high-quality buyers. And if we were to wander the halls, we'd see not only the MoPub team, but the entire Twitter sales team working to fill your inventory with ads via the Twitter audience platform. The only thing missing is you. And I'm here today to invite you to the MoPub family. So let's open your showrooms, organize your inventory, and open the doors to all those high-quality buyers. So having a showroom in the Mart really worked for my dad, and having ads in your app can really work for you. And make no mistake, when properly executed, ads definitely work. Advertising is a viable, proven strategy to monetize apps. If you're successful in driving downloads and building an audience, the ads in your app will earn money. It's a fact. So let me take you to 2013. We're going to do a lot of time travel today. The reason that ads work on mobile is increasingly becoming your primary screen. If we jump to 2015, most of you wake up, grab your phones to reorient with the world, and start to plan your day. Your mobile device is quickly becoming your primary screen at all times. Many of you in this room create some brilliant apps, some of the best in the world. And make no mistake, top brand marketers want to be a part of that. They want to leverage your creativity and your ability to grab people's attention, and they will pay you to be in your apps. Brand spend on mobile here, we can see, for our top 25 brands is up 112% year over year. Earlier this year, we announced the Twitter audience platform. It enables brand advertisers like Samsung here to advertise on Twitter and then extend their reach over to this game that has the MoPub SDK installed. It's that easy. And you, app developers, can leverage all those high-quality brand advertiser relationships that Twitter drives today. So it's like having 1,600 reps working to fill your inventory. It's really a win-win proposition. So how do you quickly integrate MoPub into your app? Being integrated with Fabric has made it incredibly easy for developers to install MoPub and immediately reap the benefits of our proven, trusted, successful ad management platform. And we like to say monetization begins at launch. It begins at the beginning. This is a typical journey of app growth, a journey many of you here in the room are probably very familiar with. You have that steep growth curve at the beginning, and if you wait until after launch to add monetization components to your app, you could potentially miss out on all that revenue in the first half of this curve. Further, if you introduce in-app payments or monetization after your app has hit that top of the peak of success there, you could alienate users who have grown really accustomed to this ad-free experience. For this reason, you can't wait. You have to add monetization components to your app, or it's advisable, very early. And the monetization components you do add should feel very natural. And with Fabric, it's incredibly easy to add monetization components to your app. You configure your app using MoPub tools online, and then you just drag and drop the MoPub kit right into your code. With just a few lines of code, you reference the ad unit ID, and you are on your way. You can start making money immediately, and we've made it really easy to do so. We want to emphasize that it's really important to start thinking about monetization very early in the development process. We provide several ad formats you can see here to give you the flexibility and control of how you want to present these ads in your app. You want them to seem natural. You don't want them to distract or stick out from the user experience. And we give you that control. Every one of these formats can be created and managed using the MoPub platform. That word platform is key. We give you a powerful technology to efficiently manage ads in your app. So I talked earlier about making ads seem like natural components of your app. Native ads are ads that match that look and feel of your app. They give you control over ad assets and how you want to display them. This means native ads are less intrusive to that user experience, so we've seen a lot of app developers really like these. Last year at Flight, we announced native display ads, and if you'll recall, you take a standard ad and you deconstruct it into 5 assets. And what's really cool about this is then you can reconstruct it any way you want to match the look and feel of your app. And since we made that announcement last year, we've seen a phenomenal adoption of native ad units. So we've seen our 8x the number of apps adopt the native ads format. In addition to adopting that native ads format, developers are also seeing a great increase in what advertisers are willing to spend on video. Developers on the MoPub marketplace have seen a 31% increase in the price that they receive for full-screen interstitial ads. So what if we could take that impressive revenue opportunity of video ads and marry it up with the great ease of implementation and user experience of native into one native video ad that gives you the best of both worlds. I am very excited today to announce native video ads, and here you can see one playing. You can notice what a great brand experience that is for the advertiser and how that's not very intrusive in the app. So that is a furniture commercial, one that Dad would really like. And at MoPub, app developers are in our DNA. We're not new to this party. We've been doing this for 5 years. And we've really been a pioneer in mobile advertising. We helped shape this industry. In the process, some of the best and most popular apps have worked with us to monetize their apps. Thousands of apps use our platform, driving millions of dollars of advertising spend and billions of ad requests every day. We've learned a lot over the years, and we believe we are a great technology partner to help you grow a business around your apps. So that's MoPub. And like the Mart back in 1955, it's an efficient and effective marketplace. A great way to showcase your inventory to buyers, to help you find the best ads for your app. Remember those rich and engaging ad formats, and the new native video ad format put you in control of how those ads appear in your app. So come see the MoPub family. We are here today at the pods. We'd love to learn about your apps and how we can help you build great businesses around them. So as I said, MoPub is used in tens of thousands of apps every day. Apps you know and love, such as MyFitnessPal from Under Armour. Let's learn more about how they're using MoPub to monetize the millions of people who use MyFitnessPal every day to track their fitness and nutrition.
The Under Armour Connected Fitness is really the digital side of our brand. And that is over 150 million registered users. And that's across our MyFitnessPal, MapMyFitness, Endomondo, and the UA Record communities.
In the early days of the integration, it facilitated those conversations among the application developers on how they're addressing these quality issues and how they're making it better. Really kind of sparked that conversation on best practices. And what's really nice about Crashlytics is a lot of the tools that are out there make it really hard to set things up at an enterprise level when you have application suites across a bunch of different business units. And it was pretty easy to link all those accounts together so that we could get a single view across all the applications on how they're performing to address quality.
One of the benefits of working with MoPub is that they bring that global demand that really helps us, again, drive competition, which then in turn bumps up revenue and also ensures that we're getting the ad quality that is most important to our user base.
The evolution of Fabric has been great to see in pulling not just Crashlytics, but having beta available and answers available with very little development work to enable those services. So the fact that this is all in one nice small package that makes it very easy to manage, and we have a high degree of trust that it's not going to cause problems within our app by including the SDK is another great feature as well.
Introducing mobile sales specialist, Katja Nelson.
So thanks so much, Kate, for dropping all that knowledge on how to turn your app into a business. I'm now going to change gears a little bit and talk to you about how do you drive people into your app and get people using the apps that you have all spent time making. And I have some exciting product announcements to share with all of you. But before we get there, I want to talk about a concept that you're all very familiar with. And this is also something that Kate just mentioned in her talk too, which is that time spent on your mobile device has gone up significantly, right? We all know this. And actually, psychologists have looked into what is the emotion that we feel when we think about our phones. And it's actually love. We love our phones. Like people. And I'm sure you all know what I'm talking about if you've ever lost your phone. You know what that feels like. It's terrible. We sleep with our phones at night. It's the first thing we look at in the morning. But that's not news. But what I think is really interesting is what this means for all of the social interactions that we used to have in group settings that are now happening on this super personal device. And this desire to want to share, and experience this still in a community hasn't gone away. And that's great news for you, because as app developers, that means that people are finding your content and then sharing it out with their community. And we see this all the time on Twitter. So for example, if you find a really great song, you're going to want to share that. We see tracks shared from Spotify shared all the time. We're no longer in the days of let's make a mix CD and hang out with our friends and play those songs. So this is another really great way to share your favorite music. Let's say you write a really great article on Medium. You're going to want to share that out, get some feedback from your community. What do they think? Start a dialogue. Or maybe, my personal favorite, you reach a high score in a game. Gaming used to be completely social, and now it's moved to this mobile device. So now you can share that out and still get those props for, yeah, I hit that high score, and get those bragging rights. And we want to make sharing even easier on Twitter. And so I have 3 really exciting product announcements for you today to do just that. First, we have our brand new Tweet Composer. This is in the Twitter kit, and it now allows you to share out native, rich photos from directly in your app. And it also allows you to preview this content before sharing it. And not only that, but it is now can be powered from in your app. And if you don't have a website, no problem. No web markup needed. Big stuff. As you can see from the Swift example, it's literally powered from within your app. And we haven't stopped there. Now, when you share this content, well, maybe I'll do an interpretive dance because my slides are black. Now when you share this content, it has a beautiful install call to action. Here we go. Yeah. Great. I just saved you all from my interpretive dance moves. So now with just a click of a button, you can go and install that app directly from the timeline. So you've now turned people who are taking in your content into marketers because they're driving installs directly from the timeline. And we haven't stopped there. We now have the ability to drive installs directly from your profile. Do you ever think about how many people check out your profile every day? Well, now with this new App Spotlight, you can then have them take that next action and go straight to the App Store with just a click of a button. And I haven't even mentioned the best part about all of this, which is that all of this is entirely free. So if you don't, there we go. So if you don't believe me in terms of how powerful using all of these tools together can be and how much growth that can drive for your app, let's hear from our friends at Dots.
Dots is a game studio. We're right now a casual, mobile-based game studio. We're basically a group of like-minded misfits who create interesting, unique experiences.
When we built the game, we didn't know a whole lot about how to make a successful game, but we did have Twitter embedded in the first game. And what happened when we launched it is all of these people with very large followings on Twitter went into the game and started tweeting out their high scores. And it became basically a competition that was happening on Twitter with the first game, Dots. That kind of helped us to really get that exponential growth when we first launched the game.
As a director of engineering, I'm pretty product focused. I want us as a team to be proud of the thing we're delivering, whether that's just from a technological standpoint or from the product itself. I think those things exist together. One can't exist without the other.
The engagement levels that we see in our Twitter campaigns help in really 3 different ways. You can retweet an ad, you can retweet content, and what this does is it drives earned media. It creates validation in the marketplace for our product with more people retweeting. And then the third thing is the value of users that we get. If it's a secondary install coming in from a primary source, those tend to be more valuable than that of an organic user.
Fabric, the idea of one SDK that will not take very long to implement, but that will give us a pretty broad reach in terms of capabilities in Unity is a huge offering.
Awesome. I love that video. And for those of you who are really paying attention to all of the things that they were saying, you would have noticed that they were also mentioning leveraging Twitter's promoted products as well. So they did an excellent job leveraging all of our organic tools, and then they layered on top of that paid activity. And so Dots, when they launched the game 2 Dots, actually drove over 1 million installs in a very short period of time, leveraging Twitter as an acquisition channel. So while your organic strategy, I'd say, is incredibly important and definitely something that you're going to want to really spend time thinking through, layering on paid is a way to really, add fuel to the fire. You've all built great apps. Let's drive people to use them. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about all of the different paid products that we have. What do you think it is about Twitter that makes it such a compelling place to drive an app install? It's the mindset that our users are in when they come to our platform. People come to Twitter to discover. They want to see what's new in their world. And so this is Emma. She's having a pretty standard experience on Twitter. She sees this awesome, I think this pretty sweet video with the dancing toys from CNN, tweets from celebrities, and then seamlessly woven in here is a promoted tweet from Postmates telling her to download this app to get the city's best burger. Hell yeah, she's going to want to check out the city's best burger. So she clicks and installs. We also recognize that Emma, like any of us, use other apps too. And now we can reach these people in other apps as well, leveraging the Twitter audience platform. So here's a beautiful ad from OpenTable reaching Emma while she's waiting for the bus. There are really 3 key pillars to driving successful growth through Twitter. The first is identifying your audience. Who are the people that you want to get in front of? Right? Who are the people that are going to download and then also drive revenue for you downstream? And once you've identified that group, the next piece is, what are you going to put in front of them? You need to have rich, inspiring creative to really get them to take that action and download. And once you've figured out those 2 pieces, it's really just about doing that at massive scale. And that's what performance at scale looks like. So let's dive into these targeting signals a little bit more. So we've got my friend Emma again. She tweets out, amazing sunset after a perfect day, lounging at the beach. Hashtag island life, hashtag travel Tuesday. And if I were her friend, I might also add hashtag humble brag. But in all seriousness, Emma has given us a lot of really important signals about who she is, right? We now know that Emma enjoys traveling and she enjoys the beach. Because Emma follows Taylor Swift and the US Open, we know that Emma enjoys pop music and tennis. And Emma has also been favoriting tweets from Anthony Bourdain, so we know that Emma's a foodie. And you might all think that you've figured Emma out, but it turns out Emma is also a Trekkie and a big Star Trek fan. So together, all of these interests and actions that come together make up a really rich story of people on Twitter. And we then take all of these actions, the follows, the favorites, the tweets, and we turn them into targeting signals. And we can target your audience on Twitter with things like interest targeting, keyword targeting, behavioral targeting, just to name a few. And then we can also leverage these same signals and reach your audience off Twitter on our audience platform as well. But what would all of this targeting be without creative, right? So you definitely want to have rich, compelling creative to inspire that action, and we are really proud of the creative units that we have. Let's see. There we go. This one is my personal favorite. We just launched this. This is the new video app card. And you can see your eyes just immediately fling to the screen. I mean, imagine you're scrolling through Twitter and then you see this from Poshmark. It's not surprising that we've seen incredible click-through rates and incredible conversion rates. And then, of course, we also have the beautiful ads that run off Twitter on our audience platform. So overall, we're super excited about all of the targeting and creative combinations that we can make together. But I think the thing that we're all really most excited about right now is our scale. We now have scale like never before. And we can reach over 700 million people, both on Twitter and off Twitter, through the audience platform. Great. And so with that, I'd like to welcome to the stage Rich Paret, who's going to deliver some other really exciting product announcements about Fabric.
Introducing Senior Director of Software Engineering, Rich Paret.
Thanks, Katja. As everyone has shown you here today, we've built an incredible platform to help you build your best business. But we're just getting started. When we launched Fabric over a year ago, we spent a lot of time listening to you, whether it's been at your local meetup, at one of the over 20 international events that we've hosted in the past year, or via your emails and tweets. We've heard your feedback about making Fabric even more powerful, fun, and easy to use. We've been rolling out improvements to how Fabric works and feels in your developer environment. We've taken your feedback to heart. The Mac app and plugins are now movable, resizable, dismissible. They make it easy for you to integrate, stay up to date, and now have detailed examples right in the client to help you get up and running. Of course, our goal in all this is to make it easy for you to get started with all the great services on Fabric. As you heard Jeff talk about, these services are immensely popular with developers around the world. We're really honored and humbled that all of you love what we're doing so much. Developers who use Fabric know that it contains essential tools to solve many of the common challenges with app development. We've seen all of them so far today. You've got Crashlytics for crash analysis and beta testing. You've got Answers for real-time insights into how customers are using your apps. Digits for easy sign-in. MoPub for monetization. And TwitterKit for tapping into the worldwide conversation on Twitter. But there are lots of other services out there that developers use and that they find essential for building the best apps. As you saw, we solve a number of them. We're very proud of the services that we build here at Twitter, but we know we're not the only ones building great services for mobile developers. There are some great companies that have gone out and solved these challenges, and they share the same goal as us. Make it easy for you, the developer, to build the best apps. So today, I'm very excited to announce that a number of these companies have integrated with us and are now part of Fabric. I'm going to show you how it works. You have the Fabric app on your Mac or in Android Studio, and you see Stripe. Many companies, including Twitter, use Stripe to process payments. You see Stripe and you want to add payments to your app. You click Install, and that's it. You're done. Completely integrated with Stripe in one step, and you have a tutorial to make it easy to go and add your first payment. It's pretty cool. It works exactly the same as every other service you're used to using on Fabric. We make it simple to get up and running. It just works. OK, Stripe is doing some really, really cool things in mobile payments. And here to talk more about that is Patrick Collison, founder and CEO of Stripe. Patrick?
So it's really great to be here today and to sort of share the stage with some of the incredible stuff that's being announced as part of Fabric. Stripe is a software platform for building an internet business. And we're used today by hundreds of thousands of businesses, from sort of single-person side project experiments starting out, right through to some of the largest companies in the world, folks like Salesforce and Walmart. And Stripe is really a bet on developers and on the power of developers. We think developers are changing the world, and we really want to help kind of enable and to accelerate this kind of progress. And so we think that Twitter shares this mindset, that Twitter sort of really understands the power of the developer, the power of leveraging a platform. And so now that Twitter is sort of really making some incredible strides with Fabric, we're very excited to be a part of all of that.
Awesome. Can you talk to us a little bit more about the power of Stripe and Fabric and why you value this partnership?
Yeah, absolutely. So, two of the kind of initial theses behind Stripe were that first, it's sort of really significant to help lower the activation energy and sort of the barrier to entry for starting with or experimenting with some new idea. That sort of, if you really reduce that threshold, that enables people to sort of to try something they might not otherwise attempt, or to experiment more effectively with something that already exists. We really want to make things easy and straightforward. Before Stripe, it took months to start accepting payments with the existing merchant account providers. We turned that into something that takes just 10 minutes. So that's kind of the first idea, reducing activation energy. And the second was making Stripe available in sort of in the ways that developers had come to expect. We were the first payments platform to support REST. We were the first payments platform to provide a JavaScript SDK. And so now with Fabric, we see sort of a canonical platform for building mobile applications starting to develop. And so, of course, we want to be part of that too. And so I think Fabric provides sort of some of the canonicalization and the simplicity that can really have sort of a transformative impact on how people build mobile applications. And so we're very excited to be a part of it.
That's awesome. Thank you. Fabric is one of the things we're doing with Stripe, but we're doing other things with Stripe at Twitter too, right?
Yeah, that's right. And so a couple of weeks ago, we announced a product called Relay. And so what we'd seen is what I guess a lot of people here will have firsthand experience with, which is increasingly we're spending our time in mobile apps. But if you tap on a link in a mobile app, if you tap on a link that brings you to a website or sort of opens up a web view or something like that, and it involves a purchase of some sort, it's extremely difficult to convert. Nobody wants to be entering their payment details and their shipping information and all this stuff sort of on some new mobile website. It's almost as if you sort of designed an experience that makes it difficult to convert, right? And so very obviously, the experience you should have that should be possible is to enable a purchase right there directly in a mobile app. I think that's far better for the end user, the consumer. It's much, much better for the retailer or the person selling. And it's much better for the platform, for an app like Twitter, for example, because there's now sort of something new that's possible. You can go and you can enable these new transactions. And so we announced Relay, which is kind of a system that connects all of the retailers and the merchants to all the apps and the platforms that want to enable transactions. And so for buyable tweets today, you can go and you can sign up with Stripe, you can define your products directly in Relay, and you can start enabling buyable tweets within 10 minutes or thereabouts. Since we launched Relay, I guess it's now 5 weeks ago, more than 4,000 businesses have started defining their products in Relay. And so that means, again, one, that you can sell directly on Twitter, but also if you're an app developer, that you can take advantage of this inventory and enable others to sell sort of directly in your app. And so that's Relay, and again, we're very excited to be working with Twitter on it.
Awesome. Patrick, thank you so much for coming today. It's great to have you as a partner.
Thank you.
Thank you. Patrick, everybody. Like Patrick mentioned, we're really excited to launch with 3 partners today: Stripe, of course, Amazon Web Services, and Optimizely. All 3 are on site here today, and everyone here will have access to these services via Fabric by the end of this keynote. We'll also be rolling out these and other world-class services for mobile developers to all our customers in the coming months. So we talked a lot about the great services on Fabric and how we make it easy to get them installed, configured, and kept up to date. I also want to spend a little bit of time talking about build and integration tools. There are a lot of really excellent ones out there, and we're committed to working with the best tools in the mobile ecosystem. So for example, we support both CocoaPods for dependency management on iOS and Gradle for build automation on Android. We share the same goal as the makers of these tools: make it easy for developers to build the best apps. Also last year, we started paying particular attention to a suite of release automation tools called Fastlane. I'm sure many of you have used it. Fastlane makes it incredibly simple to get your app deployed to the App Store by automating a lot of your release and deployment pipeline. Fastlane is a suite of tools designed to handle all the grunt work of getting your app ready for the App Store, whether it's automatically taking screenshots, doing certificate management, or any of the other time-consuming tasks that take you away from writing great code. Fastlane is there to help you. Now, that's a mission that's near and dear to our hearts. And so today, we're very excited to announce that Fastlane is part of Fabric. To tell you more about that, let me invite Felix Kraus, the creator of Fastlane, to the stage. Felix?
Thanks, Mitch. I'm super excited to be here today. Fastlane helps you automate every aspect of your release to the App Store. It is used by top companies worldwide to submit the app to the App Store. Fastlane started as a side project for me, as I wanted a better and easier way to submit apps. I quickly learned I wasn't the only way to face this issue, so I decided to share it with you, the developer community. I'm proud to say that Fastlane will stay free and open source. I'm super happy to be part of Fabric. We share the same vision. Make it easy for developers to build the best apps. So today, we have 3 big announcements for Fastlane. The last few weeks since I joined Twitter, I had the time to really focus on quality. So as of today, all Fastlane tools are now available as a 1.0 release. I'm really looking forward to what we're building next. I'm also proud to introduce a new tool called Scan, which is the fastest and easiest way to run tests of your iOS application. And I'm super happy to say that Fastlane now supports Android projects as well. There are over 50 integrations you can already use today, like integrations with Google Play or Gradle. So I'm having a lightning talk today at 2:15 p.m. at the lightning track. So check it out if you're interested in how you can save time every day by using Fastlane. Thanks.
Thank you, Felix. I'm really excited to have you and Fastlane as part of Fabric. So that's Fabric. A lot of the new things we've shared here today are version 1.0. Check them out. Give us feedback. We're listening to you. And we're looking forward to building even more great tools for developers in the coming months. Now, it's my pleasure to introduce Michael Ducker, who's going to walk you through how to use the power of Twitter to light up your apps and sites. Ducker?
Introducing Head of Product for Embedded Tweets, Michael Ducker.
So, as Rich said, Fabric is only part of the story today. Fabric helps you build great apps, but now I want to talk about the tweets that make up Twitter. People tweet to share their ideas and information without barriers. Twitter is the world's microphone. And 5 years ago, we invented the world's amplifier, the embedded tweet. The embedded tweet makes it really easy for anyone to build apps and websites that tell stories with the rich photos and videos that are on Twitter. And today, I'm excited to quantify the scale of this audience for all of you people tweeting your photos and videos to Twitter. The embedded tweet powers more than 1 billion unique visitors every month of people reading stories with your tweets in them. It's an incredible audience for the incredible amplifier of the voices that you bring to Twitter. And these stories tell amazing stories. You might be a witness to a breaking news event. You might only have 12 followers. The embedded tweet allows the world to see the world through your eyes. The embedded tweet is a modern-day pull quote. It allows people to quote you unadulterated from the photos and the stories and the conversations you're having on Twitter. It gives you commentary around the world's moments as people organize and find the great tweets out there and bring them together into one place. And it even gives voices to you, because it's so easy to tweet and it's so easy to embed those tweets that we often see publishers replacing their CMSs with embedded tweets. So today, I'm excited to launch some improvements to the embedded tweet. The first, Jeff launched the poll card this morning. And now we're going to make sure that you can embed all the rich polls you're doing on Twitter. It supports web, mobile web, and it looks great. The team also spends a lot of time making the JavaScript powering the embedded tweet incredibly performant and fast so that your websites can load even faster. And today, we are announcing that we've made the JavaScript 40% smaller, which means faster load times for the pages that you write stories on with embedded tweets. So individual tweets are great, but magic, as you saw, happens when you bring them together into stories. And this is exactly what we did with Moments. Anyone can embed Moments into their websites. But you might be asking yourself, what is the platform behind Moments? How do we find all those great tweets and put them together? And could you build some incredible apps and websites using that platform? And today, the answer is yes. All right. We're launching today a suite, an ecosystem of tools with industry leaders, such as Spreadfast, Weigh-In. Great. Today, we're launching an ecosystem of tools with industry leaders that help you find and organize tweets, including TweetDeck, Datamire, Weigh-In, Spreadfast, and Scribble Live. And these tools, the new thing is that we've made them work together. So using a new API that's available for all of you today, the Collections API, you can make your own curation tools and publish directly into the embedded tweets on your apps and websites. In fact, the tools even talk together. You can start in one and go to another. We're also launching a brand new free tool for you to find really great tweets to embed into your apps and websites. It's called Curator, and it's available today. Curator has more than 20 advanced search filters to make it easy for you to find the right tweet for your app or website. And when you organize the tweets in Curator, it immediately updates your app or website in real time. We've had the privilege to work with some great customers developing these products. Now I'd like to share with you how CBS News has been able to use these in their own workflow.
Having a mechanism to provide tweets within the editorial flow of a story really helps with the storytelling.
When I think about how Twitter impacts really a unique platform to be able to alert people to things that are trending or happening in the live universe of television. And then I also think of it as a great way to interact with that live content.
It's additive to the reputation of CBS. We can work with our partners at Twitter and make what we deliver much more current and meaningful to our users.
Fabric has helped us by providing a toolkit. The more powerful your tools, the better the things you build with those tools can be. And so providing TwitterKit and providing Crashlytics has absolutely helped how our developers work.
Twitter makes it so easy for us to drop in the actual text and visual of a tweet, and people respond so well to visuals, and it only ends up being an asset to the story.
We're currently using the timelines to offer a perspective from a given show.
What Curator allows us to do is build in real time a listening device that can zero in on new conversations that are happening as they emerge.
The revenue will come if people enjoy the apps and get value out of them and come back to use them day after day.
Thanks. CBS has been a really great partner to work with. It's really cool to see. So with new ways to find tweets and to put them into your apps, we wanted to give you new ways to display them. And we're going to start from the basics. How do you get the source code to put into your website? Today we're launching Publish. Publish is a new tool that makes it really easy to get the source code of your embeds. You can take in any URL from the collection tools, paste them in, and you immediately will get a WYSIWYG interface for you to see how the embed will look on your own website. We're also launching a great new format for embedded tweets, a beautiful photo and video grid that makes it easy for you to bring the best of Twitter to your audiences. And it's fully responsive. It looks as good on mobile web as it does on desktop. Of course, with TwitterKit, you can embed native tweets in your app. And today we're launching native timelines. With a couple lines of code, you can again take the output of this ecosystem of curation tools and embed those tweets directly into your app. And the timelines work just like you would expect. Pull to refresh, infinite scroll, beautiful photos in line. We're already seeing some really creative uses of it. NBA was in the last slide. But one of the interesting things is it's not just publishers that can benefit from really great content like tweets. Rovio just launched a new game called Love Rocks featuring Shakira. And Shakira has more than 35 million followers on Twitter. And Rovio wanted to bring her tweets into their game.
So Love Rocks is actually starring Shakira, who has 35 million followers on Twitter. We really want to create a community and a brand about love. And for that, you need to share it.
Of course, with Fabric, very important things for us, phone number, phone book integration, making the sharing a very personal experience.
We started looking at the Fabric SDK and found that there's a lot of things that we would like to use to create a better fan experience.
Social, from a technology perspective, makes that sharing easier and it enables even more organic growth.
So we asked ourselves, what is the game about? And it's about love. And when you're in love, you just want to share it with the world.
What kind of great fan experiences can we build using the Fabric SDK?
We started with the feed, but we're going to use all of them, and hopefully we're going to develop new features together with the Fabric team.
Our work with NASA that got started with one tweet from NASA about finding pigs in space, and if we ever need help, we should talk. And we did, and we built Angry Birds Space, and then we launched it together with NASA in space. And that all started on Twitter.
By creating awareness through Twitter, we'll get new users each day, and then the retention by having this community where fans can interact with each other.
If you look at the Rovio business, it's actually very simple. Two things that we need to care about, our fans and our brand.
Great. Love Rocks is available to download today in the App Store. It's a great game. So today, we've launched the new ecosystem to help you find and organize great tweets for your apps and websites, the same tools that we use to make moments. And we also launched some really great new display formats to make embedding tweets easier than ever into your apps and websites. I think that tweets have an amazing power to tell great stories, and that tweets will make up primary content for your app. And going forward, we want to work with you to make tweets a material part of your business. This ecosystem of tools is not only limited to apps and websites. If you're in Curator and you find this tweet about a train delay, it'd be great if there was an app that everyone had that could tell you about train delays, but maybe somebody didn't have their phone on them that day. How do we bring the tweets into the real world? How can we tell people in the train station that the tweet that we saw of the train delay exists? So today we're launching a new partnership with JC2Co, the leader in out-of-home digital display. And JC2Co is using the same ecosystem of tools to find great tweets and put them into the real world. I'm going to end my time with a video about how JC2Co was able to use these tools to light up rugby in London.
Twitter has allowed fans to get closer to the game than ever before. Whether it's discussing post-match results with players or even fans directly, we couldn't be more excited about displaying live tweets here at giant screens at the stadium and also at train stations across the country via the JC2Co network. We extended our Twitter campaign to digital outdoor advertising because we wanted to show fans here the level of support the teams and the tournament has, not just in this country, but also around the world too. The global nature of Twitter means fans anywhere around the world are able to join in the conversation. Twitter has provided fans and teams a platform to interact. The teams can show all the latest news from their camp and the fans can show their support and how they're getting behind the teams. Twitter and sport go hand in hand. We already knew rugby fans around the world would be talking about the tournament, but we wanted to showcase that conversation and we wanted to encourage others to join in too.
Introducing VP of Business Development, Chris Moody.
That was not an AA. So as the voice of God said, I'm Chris Moody. I'm responsible for our data business. You know, as a data team, we realized a few years ago that we were building the largest searchable archive of human thought that's public that's ever existed. And so we challenge ourselves every day, and we challenge you, the developer community, and our partners to think about what happens in a world where you know what the world is thinking about any topic at any moment in time. What great things can you do? What can you build? So I want to give you a couple examples of what the world's building. So many of you have probably had food poisoning at some point in your life. And you know, the medical community doesn't actually know very much about foodborne illness because it passes very quickly. No pun intended. And so it's very hard to study. So even though it's been around since the beginning of food, we don't actually know very much about it. But now we do, because on Twitter, people talk about getting food poisoning all the time or feeling sick after a meal. So now we actually have data for researchers to study. And the folks at Harvard Medical School are doing groundbreaking research around foodborne illness, and they're ultimately going to be able to develop early detection systems and, you know, get to a point where we can actually get to a point where we can prevent foodborne illness in the future. What else can you do? You can make the world a little bit safer. So we've partnered with officials in Jakarta as well as the University of Wollongong. Jakarta has this problem, which is during monsoon season, a city of 30 million people can be flooded by as much as 40%. And it's a life or death situation if people are migrating and evacuating to the right routes to safe places. And it's a very fast-changing landscape. They may need to make decisions quickly. So we've partnered with city officials, and now we have citizens tweeting as eyewitnesses on the ground about what they're seeing around flood conditions. Oh, this levee was just breached. We need to shut down this power grid so people don't get electrocuted. We're taking decisions that used to take hours or days and turning them into minutes, which means lives are actually going to be saved through this amazing archive of data. We can also make businesses more productive. Our friends at Unilever, they were really curious about what was happening around conversations with their brand Ben & Jerry's. How are people talking about ice cream? And they learned some really fascinating insights. For example, no one talks about ice cream on Monday or Tuesday. So if you're trying to sell them ice cream on Monday or Tuesday, spending a lot of advertising money, you might be throwing that money away. The other thing they learned, which was really fascinating, besides the fact that conversations start on Wednesday and they ramp up, is there's this really strong correlation between people buying ice cream and weather, but it's not the correlation that you would necessarily expect. The correlation is people buy ice cream when they're predicting it to rain on the weekend. People talk about stocking up on ice cream and staying in to watch a movie. This fundamentally changes their view of how they communicate with their customers. It's a totally different perspective on customers that they thought they knew. What do you know? What can you do when you know what the world's thinking about any topic at any moment in time? So how do we do this? So we have a whole suite of data products that enable these use cases. We have everything from our public APIs, which are free, and they're a great way for developers to start with our tools and really get up to speed and see what they can build, all the way up to our enterprise data products, which we refer to as our GNIP products, which allow you to build mission-critical, highly scalable, reliable systems. So when reliability matters, you use our enterprise-grade solutions through GNIP. And there's lots and lots happening at the enterprise level. Businesses are really embracing this data throughout the whole enterprise. So sure, you'd think about marketing, but sales intelligence, supply chain, demand forecasting, customer service, it's really everywhere today. But you don't have to just take my word for it. Let's hear from Target and see what they have to say about Twitter data.
One of the most interesting things that we've done here is we've built a guest central. And the most important aspect of that guest central is Twitter. It is this constant feed of comments and input that we're getting from our guests all day long.
Essentially, our guest is core to what we do here at Target.
Twitter for us is ground zero for all things that are now.
We see up to 35,000 mentions of Target on Twitter a day, so all that gets funneled through here. We're monitoring that.
One of the things that I love about Twitter is that it actually is our voice. It allows us to express ourselves almost as though we're talking.
From a data perspective, Twitter is the most accessible source of guest conversation that we have right now.
What I love about Twitter is I think it's a real-time research engine too. It's also a tool that allows us to assess a large volume of conversation for people that may not even be talking about our brand, but are talking about something that's important to us and important to our guests.
Honestly, our executives want to know what's going on. It is truly a pulse of brand health right at this moment in time, and we know immediately. We have an answer right away.
About 85% of the data that we take in from our different listening tools are Twitter data, which is great. It's a really nice snapshot of what guests are saying about Target in real time, what questions they have.
But it's something that, again, no other channel really allows us to do. What other media partner out there can actually almost has a voice for our brand?
So I believe great products and great services start with understanding your customer. And for Twitter and Target, that is a very important relationship because we're allowing them to have a dialogue with their customer they just couldn't have before Twitter came along and before Twitter made data available. So let's talk a little bit about our enterprise platform. So we have two functional categories of our product. We have our real-time products. These are about helping developers sort through hundreds of millions of tweets a day to find exactly the tweet or set of tweets that they want to act upon or analyze. We also have our historical products, and historical products are about going back in time. You can go all the way back to March of 2006 and retrieve Jack's first tweet. And you can go back and study the past and maybe build models that are going to help you forecast the future because you now understand the past and what actually happened. These two products have been groundbreaking. The impact of these products is felt well within 95% of the Fortune 500, so people are actually building at scale on these products. But today, I'm super excited to announce we're adding a new product category, which is our Insights product. And it's coming. There it is. So for the first time, we're going to actually start providing aggregated insights, specifically in two categories. So the first category is where you have an engagement API. Our engagement API is going to let you as developers help your customers understand what's happening with their organic content. So you can help them understand things like impressions, which have never been programmatically available. No more guessing about impressions. You can also get all kinds of fascinating engagement data around their content. So things certainly like you would expect, like favorites and retweets, but all kinds of interesting click and view and open data that's never been available before. You think about it as a developer, you could work with your customer, especially in a marketing use case, where they're interested in saying, how can we make our content more effective? Well, you can go back in time, look at their content, really analyze it, find out what's working and what's not from an engagement standpoint, and help them really amplify their message the next time on the platform. The next product is our Audience API. So the Audience API is about providing aggregated insights about custom audiences. So again, this is something we've never done before. We're actually going and we're surfacing internally demographic and psychographic data analysis that we've never surfaced before. So now you'll be able to bring your custom audience and look at Twitter and get information, things like gender and demographics and location and interest that you've been asking for, and now we're actually going to be able to deliver. So the timing on these, today you can sign up and apply for our beta program. But more importantly, in the afternoon, we have a data track, and Rob Johnson, our head of product, is going to be doing a deep dive into these two new products. And so you can start to think about what you want to build on top of them. So there's no question that our data is transforming the way businesses operate. I want to focus on one area that I think is really advancing very quickly, and that is the area of customer service. So as consumers, we love to interact with brands on Twitter. When we're traveling, we like to interact with brands. When we're struggling with our wireless service, we need help from our providers. When we are interacting with our favorite apps, we sometimes need help. The amount of conversation that's happening on Twitter between consumers and brands has never been greater. And the stats are actually kind of staggering. So if you think about the social care, people reaching out on social networks for help, 80% of that content is happening on Twitter, and it's growing dramatically, 2.5x over the last 2 years. And brands love it because they love the open dialogue too. They like the accountability of both sides of the equation, but they also like it because it's an outside party says it's 1/6 of the cost to do customer service on Twitter versus traditional channels. So we're trying to do our best to help brands be better at this, and you can help your customers be better at this. We recently published a 122-page guidebook to show brands how to do it right, how to engage. But that's not enough. We want to also give the capabilities and tools. So I want to talk about how we can power amazing experiences through the developer toolkit that we've been talking about today. So I'll use a fictional example. Did you guys realize today is Back to the Future Day? It's 10/21/2015. So fictional example is, let's say I own a time machine rental company. Now, I'm using GNIP's products to monitor any potential customer service issues, and sure enough, I see this guy, Cool Ass Puppy, who says his time machine's not working. Now, this is a real problem for anybody doing customer service on Twitter, which is, who the hell is Cool Ass Puppy? We don't know. Is he a customer? Is he actually renting a car from us? So now, with our Fabric integration, you can, with one line of code, add the, hey, link my account to Twitter, so in your app. And so now, when Cool Ass Puppy is tweeting at us, we can actually incorporate it right into our CRM tool of choice and say, oh, well, we know he's Prashant, and he's actually a very loyal customer, and we actually even know what model car he's driving, so we can maybe help him deal with this particular challenge. So in the old days, a dialogue might look like this, which is a lot of back and forth around, hey, who are you? Can you send us your account message? Maybe we have to go off Twitter to actually resolve your problem. Now in this future world where we actually know who Prashant is, it can be very simple, right? He sends a request, we know who he is, and we can respond right away. Now, Ducker showed you how we can also tell great stories inside of our apps with content, and we can do the same thing in the customer service scenario, where I might use a third-party curation tool to go out and find a bunch of great content, and then easily embed a timeline in my app with things like frequently asked questions, or if there's a particular service issue happening that I want customers to know about. So to, again, exemplify what's happening in customer service, let's take a look at what Hilton's doing with customer service on Twitter.
I mean, everybody, I feel like, knows the name Hilton, but it's a massive company. It's 12 brands going on probably 13 brands worldwide. We're a business of people serving people. So, I mean, customer service to us is just another form of hospitality.
Twitter specifically is the lion's share of our social media contacts because it is the most popular.
We have a team of people who are focused on Twitter as, a customer service tool.
We take immediate action and call the hotels around the world, 24 hours, 7 days a week. Our social media channels never close, so we're available to our guests at any time.
Twitter for us has been this huge shift in the importance of social, not just as this one-way voice of what our brands are, but as this really democratized community.
People know if I go to Twitter, I'm going to get immediate attention, my problems are going to be resolved, and I'm going to continue with this brand.
It is gone are the days where someone calls the front desk and say, hey, I don't have a remote control, I don't have enough towels in my room. Now they tweet.
If you want your business to succeed in the future, you have to jump in on Twitter, because that's where everyone is voicing what they're feeling, what they want changed, what they like, what they don't like. People are not picking up the phone as much anymore. They're just putting it out there. And if you truly want to continue to build your company into something greater than what it is today, that's where you need to be paying attention.
It's really about, putting yourself in the customer's shoes and just making the customer happy.
What I love about Twitter. Oh, I love a lot of things about Twitter. What I love about Hilton is that they take customer service to a whole different level. They don't just think about people complaining. They think about people just asking for help. If you're asking, where's a great place to have seafood in San Francisco, in this area of town, they'll chime into the conversation. They're a hospitality company. So they're really broadening the spectrum of how they think about customer service. So we're going to do a lot more work in both customer service and in continuing to invest in our data products. This last year has been an incredible set of investments in our data offerings. We have received some criticism that I think is totally valid, which is especially on the enterprise side, our products can be expensive to use. They're expensive to build, so they can be expensive to use, which is fine for a lot of companies, but especially with startups, they've said, we would love to have some access to the GNIP products. So we're going to take a first important step. I'm super excited that today we're announcing a partnership with the accelerator Techstars. So every startup going through Techstars around the globe will actually have free access to our enterprise platform. And not only just free access, they'll get direct consultation from our product team on helping them build the best products. So for us, we think we're really at a super interesting place. We've shown you how you can build great applications with Fabric. We've shown you how you can build compelling stories with Twitter content and get that into your apps. And we talked about how you can use our data platform to transform business operations. At this point, I think we've done enough talking. Let's actually look at what it's like to actually code an application and build a business using all of Twitter's development tools. So at this point, I want to invite up Bear and Romain, and they're actually going to walk you through building an app. Thanks so much.
Introducing Manager of Developer Advocacy, Bear Douglas, and Developer Advocate, Romain Huet.
Good morning, everyone.
As you heard throughout the keynote, our goal is to provide developers with tools to build the best apps and the strongest businesses.
We've given you an overview of some of the new features and products on our platform today, but now we want to show you how they can fit into your real apps and workflows. So let's start off by revisiting an old friend. This time last year, here at Bill Graham, we demoed the Fabric platform for the very first time with an app that we called Cannonball. Cannonball is a magnetic poetry game where you can pick a theme and a picture and create a poem to go alongside it. We made it stable and social using Crashlytics and Twitter. And we also showed you how to monetize it using native ads in MoPub. Native ads inside MoPub gave us the most seamless experience to display ads that looked and felt like Cannonball. And for those of you who haven't used MoPub before, the power of their platform is that you can change positioning and the frequency of ads on the fly from MoPub's website. Now, Kate told you earlier today that we can do even better this year. Instead of just showing you static images as part of our native ads, we want to replace that with native videos. So let's show you how easy it is to do that inside Cannonball.
So last year on this stage, Bear showed you Cannonball for Android. Today, we're going to take you on a journey, and we're not going to build live one, but 2 apps for iOS. For all of you Android developers in the room, keep in mind everything you see on screen today equally applies to both. All right, so let's get started, and let's jump over to Xcode. So I have the Cannonball project here, open in Xcode. It's written in Swift. And the first thing we have to do to move from static native ads to native video ads is to take a look at our native ad cell. So here we have an image, but we simply added a container on top to welcome the video content. That's named video view. So I'm now going to jump over my native ad cell.swift. And really, all we have to do here is to tell MoPub where to place those video. So I'm going to implement the function native video view, and that's going to return simply the video view that we have an outlet for. Perfect. Next, I'm going to jump to my poem history view controller. That's the view controller that drives the screen you've just seen with my poems. So first, we're going to create here a video configuration object because we're ready to accept some videos from MoPub. So I'm going to create that right now and pass my video settings. And really, all we have to do now is simply tell MoPub that we're happy to accept some video content and not only just static ads. So let's just pass the video config here. Perfect. So we save the file, and I'm going to build and run the app on my iPhone again. And now when the app launches, ideally we should see some beautiful native ads that are much more engaging than static images. So I'm going to jump to my poem history. Let's actually rotate the phone to make that even nicer. I'm going to scroll through a bit. And here we go. Now we have native video.
It's that time of year. Friends, family, all coming together. And no matter your style, we can help you get ready and make your house a home for the holidays.
So direct from Cannonball, we can tap in to learn more about this new app, Fernie. So what is Fernie? Well, it's a home furnishing store built with mobile in mind. Products are grouped into categories that help people browse and pick things that look great in their home. But it is a sample app that we built just for demoing purposes today. We took all of our content and our cues from the team over at dotandbow.com, so a big thank you to them.
So let me walk you through what Fernie is, because it really shows off the power of the Fabric platform and everything we've showed you during Keynote. There are a few components that Fernie needs to be a great online store. In fact, components that any apps needs in general. First, we need an account system to make sure we can track people's orders, preferences, and personal details. So here, if I go ahead and let's say tap on my account, as you can see, that requires a login, so Fernie brings the login view controller. Fernie uses digits to make it super simple to log in with my phone number. So I'm going to go ahead and tap the Sign in with Digits button. The view is entirely customized, so I'm going to go ahead and put my phone number here. And in just a second, we're receiving this code with 6 digits I have to type, 670701. Continue. Boom, I'm logged in. That's how easy it is to get started and get logged in with digits. And of course, we need some sort of crash reporting for Fernie and a way to distribute beta builds. So for that, we're using Crashlytics. Great. So now we have an account system. We have an app that's stable. We can ship some beta builds. How can we make this app more useful but also feel alive? Because here, if we go back to the store, Fernie provides selections and featured categories so people can just go through. But some customers want more. They want to know that the products they're buying are actually popular with their friends, or the people who own these PCs are actually happy with them. And turns out there's a ton of great content every single day on Twitter talking about design trends, furniture trends, that could really help our customers in Fernie when they make their purchase decisions. So we really want to bring that great content and embed it inside Fernie. So here we have a tab at the bottom of the phone, and if I tap on trends, there's nothing quite yet to see. So let's fix that. Last year, on this stage, Bear showed you how to embed the tweets inside an app with just one line of code. Well, guess what? Now with one line of code, you can embed a complete timeline of tweets thanks to the features that Docker talked about earlier. So I'm going to bring up the Fernie project here on Xcode, and we're going to jump to the Twitter timeline view controller. I can zoom in so you can see a bit better. So really, all we have to do here is to wire up the table view content with a data source. So we're going to bring a data source, and we need a collection timeline data source that needs two parameters. First is a collection ID, which I don't really have quite yet, and a Twitter API client that I'm going to create on the fly. Perfect. The team at Fernie uses Twitter's tool called Curator to find, organize, and publish great tweets. Let me show you this tool. That's Curator. So on the main screen in the center, you can see the real-time conversation happening right now as we speak about home trends, designs, etc. And on the right-hand side, you can see the collection of tweets that we selected on purpose for Fernie, called Fernie Trends. So here I can just go ahead and copy and paste this collection ID, because I would like to bring that content inside Fernie. So I'm just going to do Command-C and copy, zoom out, go back to Xcode, and I'm going to copy that collection ID here. Save, and let's build and run Fernie again on my iPhone. So in just a few seconds, on the iPhone, we should see now some great content that could help our customers by tapping on trends. There we go. A complete timeline of tweets where you can get inspired and find some beautiful stories about how to design your home. And we doesn't stop here, because if we go back to Curator, and let's say one of these recent tweets could be interesting, like this one, if I click on it, add it to my collection, go back now to my app and pull to refresh, immediately that tweet is here. So it's really like instant, very simple to do, incredibly powerful, and all of a sudden your app is alive with Twitter content. All right, so now we have an app that's alive, some Twitter content. We have some great tools, an account system. What does every single store needs? Well, every store needs a way to accept payment. And fortunately, as you've heard from Patrick earlier, we are super excited to welcome Stripe into the Fabric platform today. So let me show you how this works. If we bring up the Mac app for Fabric, the first step when you onboard an app is always to click the org that you want to select, because Fabric has been built to work with Teams. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit Next. And as you can see now, below the 4 Fabric kits that you've all got to know, we now have Stripe listed here along with Optimizely and Amazon Cognito Sync. And we've brought the seamless click-to-integrate experience that we've built for the Fabric kits, and we applied it to our partners' SDKs. So installing any of these kits is exactly the same. So I'm just going to go ahead and click Install on Stripe. We've heard you loud and clear. You can still, of course, drag and drop your frameworks from the Fabric app, but we now support CocoaPods. So we love CocoaPods, so we're just going to go ahead and select CocoaPod. Now, the Fabric app tells me exactly which lines to copy over to my pod file. So I'm just going to copy those 2 lines, go over to my pod file, and there we go. Now we're going to have the pod Stripe installed. I've already ran pod install to save a few seconds here on stage, so the Stripe SDK is ready to go. Let's hit Next. That's the run script build phase that we've added previously. You've been familiar with that. That helps us register your app with the backend. And next, the Fabric app takes care of all the API key provisioning for you. So if you have an existing Stripe API key you'd like to use, you can paste it there, or we can generate an account and a key for you on the fly. So let's submit. Perfect. And now all we need to do is to bring Stripe in our app delegate, wire up the components we Fabric with, which I've done already. So let's just hit Next and build the app. So now we have the Stripe SDK right there inside Fernie. And the best part is now, when I take a look at the Mac app, complete tutorials have been packed for every SDK. So you can learn easily how to install Stripe, and in that case, how to accept a payment. So if I switch over to Swift, OK, so we've done that already with the test key. Now I can learn exactly from the Mac app, without even leaving my IDE, how to process a payment with Stripe. OK, so that's a Stripe API client, shared client, create token with card. But we're using an iPhone here, so let's just use Apple Pay to avoid our customers having to enter their credit card details. Perfect. So we're just going to hit next, and I'm going to show you the code for Stripe. So if I jump over to my card view controller, that's what drives the payment. So here, as you can see, Stripe helps us create the Apple Pay request. And then after we set up the payment request with a few additional fields that we need, such as the billing address, the shipping address, and all these things, we are bringing up Apple Pay. And at the end of the flow, when the Apple Pay payment is successful, we can just use Stripe to create the token with payment, and that will allow us to basically process the charge on the back end. Extremely easy, extremely simple, and you can now get up and running with Stripe in just a few seconds.
The next component that every app needs is some sort of insight into their customers' behavior. That is, they need analytics. So Answers, our real-time product for analytics, is now moving to become its own kit. The great thing about Answers is that over the past year, we've made a lot of significant additions to the product. Answers now supports events, where we give you out of the box some of the most important events that people need to track inside mobile apps. Logging something as a purchase, logging an add to cart, and several other popular events. We have them pre-selected for e-commerce, so Romain's added them into our cart model.
Absolutely, and if you take a look here, just when the Stripe payment is complete, we can actually log purchase with price for every item that was in our cart. So we can track all these events. But we also use all the Answers events throughout the app. So if I take a look, for instance, at the cart model.swift, right there, that action is being called every time a customer adds a product to their cart. So we make sure we log that as well. We've logged add to cart with price. And with all these Answers events, we can track the entire purchase funnel for Fernie. Let me actually show you here the Answers dashboard. We can see here on top real-time information, how many people are currently using Fernie. And then I can drill down and see all my Answers events and drill down on any of them to get all the details. Extremely easy. So it's really great that analytics give us insights into what people and customers are doing inside Fernie. But really, all apps could benefit from testing other possibilities. What would customers be doing differently inside Fernie if we were to enable new experiences for them? Well, A/B testing helps you conduct experiments to test and prove which app experiences are best for your customers. And Optimizely provides an amazing solution for that, and we're super excited as well to welcome them on Fabric. So if we take a look at Fernie again on my phone, here we had this idea where basically, if we were to bring some product previews in line below all these collections, maybe that could drive some more taps to product details and eventually purchase. So we'd love to test that with some of our customers. So let me jump back to Xcode and the Fabric Mac app. If I bring up the Mac app here, I can now go back, and Optimizely is right there. I've added the SDK. You've seen the simple step with Stripe already. So I'm just going to go ahead and learn more about how to use Optimizely. One of their features is called code blocks, and that allows me to run different code based on my experiments and user cohorts. So let's click and learn more about code blocks. OK, I need a URL scheme. I've done that for Optimizely, so that's perfect. And now I can see Optimizely.codeBlock with key with a complete example that I can copy and paste to my project. OK, so I have block 1, block 2, and a default block. That would be great for Fernie to actually try 2 types of layout. So let's go back to Xcode and see how we can make that real inside Fernie. So I have my store view controller here that drives the main screen for Fernie that you've seen before. And it's essentially a table view. So we prepared already 2 types of layout. And when we switch the layout type, what we do is we switch the data source for the table view. And we also change the prototype cells to use in order to render the view. So all we have to do is change that store layout. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to remove this hard-coded value and instead bring Optimizely to see how we can possibly test 2 different UIs at the same time. So I'm going to bring Optimizely here. My store layout code block is going to be the key I want to switch on. For the first block of people, I'm actually going to keep the exact same store layout you've seen that I called basic. Now for the block 2, I want to bring this new layout and try it on some of our customers. And we call it rich, and it contains product previews right in place. For the default block, I'm just going to keep the one we have in production now. Perfect. So I'm just going to save this file, run, and build Fernie again on the phone. And ideally, we should see now some great product previews right in place. There we go. Now for every featured selection of product, I can just have this beautiful collection view with product just in line. And I can tap on any of them to basically check the details and eventually purchase.
Optimizely provides a lot of very powerful tools for creating and managing your experiments on optimizely.com. So we're going to do a progressive rollout to our customers to see whether or not this is actually making any difference to their purchase behavior. And after a few days, it's become crystal clear. The product previews in line are actually driving a lot more traffic and a lot more sales for us. So we're ready to nix the experiment and just decide that this is our layout moving forward. So let's ship it.
But I'm sure now there's one very tedious step that most of you have probably experienced before. Nearly all our screens have now changed in Fernie. So what it means is we have to recreate all the screenshots for every iPhone and iPad screen size and for every language we support in Fernie. And that quickly devolves into hundreds of screenshots you have to redo for every of these devices. Fernie is translated to 10 languages today. So let's take 10 languages, 5 iPhone and iPad screen sizes, and 5 screenshots for each. That's 250 PNGs you have to redo manually and upload to iTunes Connect. What a nightmare for an app developer every single week. And that's where Fastlane comes in. Fastlane can help you automate easily a lot of very tedious tasks when you build mobile apps. So let's take a look at Fastlane. I have my Fastlane here open in Xcode, and everything is defined in what we call a fast file. So let's open the fast file. A fast file is essentially a very simple Ruby script where you define lanes and actions to run for each of them. So here, I have 2 lanes. One is called beta, and that's useful when we want to test a beta build of Fernie with beta by Crashlytics, and then we can post the link to Slack so our team members can download that build. And then we have the second lane that's release, and that's interesting for us because that's when we want to ship an update of Fernie to the App Store. So let's take a look at what we do in the release lane. Well, first, we're going to verify Xcode and make sure xcode.app is valid with Apple. We're going to bump the version number because we're going to ship an update for Fernie. Then we're going to build with Fastlane the actual IPA of the app and make sure it's properly signed with all the provisioning profiles. Then Snapshot will generate all the screenshots for us that we need to recreate, and eventually Deliver will upload those screenshots for us on iTunes Connect, along with the metadata and the actual IPA of the app. And finally, we'll post a link to Slack when we're done. All right, so enough talk. Let's see Fastlane in action. So if I type in Fastlane lanes on my terminal here, I have direct access to my 2 lanes I just mentioned, beta and release. So we're just going to run Fastlane release to ship Fernie to the App Store. And there we go. So first step, as you can see on the screen now, we verify Xcode. It takes a few seconds, but sounds like it's verified with Apple, so that's great. We just bumped the version number to 101, so it's now updated in the plist file automatically for us. And then Fastlane takes care of the hassle of provisioning profiles, certificates, so no longer the need to click on those fix issues buttons in Xcode anymore. Fastlane does all the work. And next, what's happening now in the background is super interesting. Snapshot is currently running and building Fernie on every iOS device that we want to support and every language. So that means that in the background, we are creating automatically all the PNGs we need for iTunes Connect. Let me show you what we called the snap file. The snap file is how we describe the devices and languages we want to support. So to save some time here on stage, I limited it to 2 devices, 6S and 6S Plus, and 1 language, and 2 screenshots for it. So we should have 4 screenshots in total, but of course you can run that in the background. And here, look at what happened on my screen now. We are automatically building Fernie on the 6S Plus, taking a screenshot of that first view, and then automatically navigating through the screens and taking those screenshots that we need for iTunes Connect. And at the end of the flow, Snapshot is shutting down the iOS simulator, and eventually what we will get in a few seconds, there we go, is this HTML page where you can have a quick look at all the screenshots we've just taken. And as I'm just speaking, we're actually uploading all of them to iTunes Connect, so 250 of them, because we prepared a few, and the actual IPO of Fernie 101. That's pretty incredible. Can you even imagine how many hours you're going to save by using Fastlane every single week? That's pretty crazy.
It is. So now if we take it back to the user experience of coming into Fernie and buying something for the first time, Romain, now as a customer, can look through Fernie, browse products in line, and start favoriting some of them that he might want to buy later on.
Yeah.
Now, what we found with a lot of Fernie customers is that they need some sort of validation from their friends and often from their roommates as well before they buy furniture. It's a big decision. So what Romain can do, now that he's already signed in with Digits, is upload his contacts to Fernie so that he can find out what his friends have liked inside the app. And this is a best practice, delaying the request to have people upload their contacts until they know and trust your app and see the benefit that they'd get from it.
Absolutely. So I'm just going to go ahead and tap on Find Friends. There we go. So as you can see, you can customize the entire display on Find Friends with Digits. And let me actually show you the code for that, because it's extremely easy to get started with Find Friends. If I open up the account, if I open up the account manager.swift, that's where we upload the contacts in the address book. So that's very easy to do. That one line, start contacts upload with Digits appearance, is what we need to basically take care of all the heavy lifting, the permissions to your contacts, and eventually at the end of the flow, in the completion block, what you get is an array of Digits user IDs. And these people are people from your address book who already use your app. So in our case, Fernie. And you can then do some smart things with that. You can pose this array of Digits user IDs to your backend to store them, or maybe you can even do some contact lookup to fetch the profile pictures and the names. So let's go back to the actual Fernie app, and let me just upload my contacts here. So I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to accept the access to my contacts, and there we go. Now I just uploaded my contacts to Fernie, so I can actually enjoy the favorite products and see what the pieces my friends have favorited before. Oh, I can see my roommate Leah here. We actually both like this blue chair. Let me actually just text Leah to let her know I'm buying that chair. Buying that blue chair, we both like it, looks awesome, and emoji. Sent. There we go. So now I'm just going to go ahead and tap on that chair. I'm going to add this chair to my cart. Oh, actually, that's nice. Work hard and be nice. I'm going to add that as well. She's going to like that. Add to cart. Perfect. And this as well. Yeah, I'm on a shopping spree. All right, so now I can review my cart and all the items I've put in my cart. I can just tap on Finish and Pay. You've seen the code earlier with Stripe. We're automatically bringing up Apple Pay here. So all I have to do simply is just to do Touch ID. Boom, that was seamless and quick. I just paid for this order. And as you can see, it's very simple. And we also send the customer receipts over email thanks to Digits email verification. So that's really super convenient to do. Oh, wait, sorry, what's that?
Oops.
Oops, Leah just sent me a message. Love it, getting it black to go with the table. Oops, I actually already gone ahead and bought that blue chair. That was so simple to do and fast with Stripe. Well, I'm just going to reply an emoji. All right. Oh, but it seems like Fernie has actually anticipated my needs again on that screen.
So Fernie already does customer service with Twitter. They know it's the best place to have a friendly, conversational interaction with their customers. So what they've done is inside the mobile app, prompted everyone who's checked out to log in with their Twitter account so the customer service team can give them the best experience down the line.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and connect my Twitter account. Just one tap, accept. Boom. That was fast. So now my Twitter account is connected to my Fernie account, so the Fernie team can know exactly who I am on Twitter. Perfect. And actually, that's interesting because now I have a lot of identifiers just for my account. We have the Digits phone number, we have the Digits email, and we now have my Twitter handle. That's a lot of identifiers just for one person. But Cognito from Amazon Web Services makes handling these a breeze. It makes it super easy to manage multiple identities all in one place and across all the devices. And we're super excited as well because Amazon Web Services is part of our Fabric now, so it's never been easier to bring Cognito to a Fabric app. If I take a look here again on the Fabric app, Cognito Sync is listed here. And I've already onboarded the Cognito SDK to Fernie. So let me show you the code for that. We can learn through the Fabric app how to basically sync all our identifiers on AWS. Oh, that's great. So we can actually see that we have a simple action here. OK, so I have the complete example to learn from. Oh, and in the data set, we can actually pass some extra information. So that's pretty cool. Let me show you the code for that inside Fernie. So if I open up the account manager again and scroll all the way up, that's where we manage everything login and accounts inside Fernie. So here, if I zoom in a bit, you can see we create our Cognito region type, identity pool, and eventually every time we log in with Twitter or with digits, we create one of these identities. And in the callback in Swift with did set, as soon as we log in with any of those, we're going to use Cognito to save that session on their services, and we can actually pass along some extra details. So here I'm passing the Twitter username or the digits phone number. So that's extremely easy to do, all your identities in one place. Perfect. So actually, let's go back to Fernie, because I think we need some help with that chair. So I'm going to tweet at Fernie. Hey, Fernie, bought a chair, but would love to change the color to black. Thank you. Oops. Thanks from Twitter Flight. Are we trending yet? We should. There we go. All set. So I'm going to tweet at Fernie, and hopefully someone on the other end is going to pick up my tweet and help me with that issue.
So when Romain sends the tweet to Fernie's customer service team, they're paying attention through TweetDeck. So you can see that Romain's tweet came in just now. Hey, Fernie, bought this chair, but would love to change the color to black. So the customer service team can hop over to the admin dashboard and see here that Romain's order, since it's so recent, is right here near the top. It's already joined on his Twitter handle, so we don't need to have a cumbersome back and forth. Hey, what's your account email address? What order number are you referring to? No questions like that at all. I can see that the order is still pending. It hasn't gone out to our fulfillment team. So I can just go in our admin dashboard and start amending his order. It came in through Twitter, so I can confirm that, and then just swap in the color to black. Now back in TweetDeck, I can go and close the loop out with Romain. So here I can say, no problem. Switched it to black, and it's on its way. So now in a single tweet, we've gone from customer having a problem to resolution. And that's a pretty amazing experience.
That's amazing. And that's something we've always experienced before. You know, this constant back and forth of messages with the major brand we talk to on Twitter. Here, by using GNIP, Fabric, and the entire Twitter platform, Fernie was able to provide me with a customer service that I've never expected. Like, they solved my problem right away. And that's something that makes me a loyal customer to Fernie.
And that's something that we're really excited about. Great customer service is a huge component of customer loyalty. But now when we're thinking about expanding our business, we need to think beyond our existing customer base. We have a new line of space-saving bookshelves, just like this one from Dot & Bow, that we want to introduce into Fernie. So when we're thinking about who's the right target audience for this, we start off with a thought experiment. Well, they're space-saving bookshelves, so we're probably looking for people in urban areas who don't have that much space inside their apartments. And we're looking for people who like books. And we also have to think beyond that. Who's still buying and keeping physical books so that they'd need a space-saving bookshelf? Well, speaking from extensive anecdata about sci-fi and fantasy lovers, I like to keep physical copies of my 12-part series, and I store them at home. And I also know that in my neighborhood, the independent sci-fi and fantasy bookstore is still doing really well. So maybe the people who are still buying books are sci-fi and fantasy lovers. Now, we have to go out and actually validate this claim and see if anybody who's using Fernie already is in our supposed target. So let's start by looking at our answers dashboard. Fernie has answers installed, and under the MAU tab, I can scroll down to find out a little bit more about who's using Fernie right now. It looks like our audience is roughly equal in gender breakdown, but the people who are using Fernie are most interested in sports news and power and motorcycles and auto racing. So that doesn't scream books or sci-fi lovers to me either. What's interesting, too, is that I see that there's some geographic spread among existing users of Fernie. They're not specifically urban, so we might need to look beyond that. But we also want to know if there's any difference between our average audience and the people who are purchasing in Fernie. So if we scroll into our purchase event, at the bottom we can see that there is some difference between our overall audience and the people who make purchases in Fernie. The people who actually buy from us are pretty interested in music, they're less interested in comedy, and we think that there are slightly more women who are actually buying our products. So what does that mean for us? It means that we need to think outside our existing audience for Fernie. We need to find out who the people are that are in our target. And that's where the Audience API from Knip can help us out. So we've built a data visualization for some of the information we've pulled from the Audience API based on a query about who likes books, and particularly sci-fi, inside the US. So here at the top, we've got a slider where we can pan to see the percentage of people in a given county who are interested in books and sci-fi. So if we crank this all the way up here, we can see that a couple of hotspots appeared in New York, in Chicago, and in San Francisco. So that seems like those people are right within our target. We can get some extra information about them, too. The gender breakdown, and actually even specific interests that they have in television and movies. So now we know that the people who are inside our target are watching Empire. So we can take that video that we used as a mopab ad and turn it into a TV spot to expand our audience. Even better, we can take the audience segment that informed all of this data visualization and turn it into a target inside Twitter ads. So then we can place mobile app install ads and drive potential users directly to Fernie. And that's the power of Twitter's platform. It's powered our business end to end. We've built a mobile app using every kit inside Fabric. We've optimized our workflows using Fastlane. We've paid attention to our customers' experiences, positive and negative, through TweetDeck, through Knip's APIs on engagement. And we've learned how to grow our audience and expand our customer base using Knip's Audience API.
There's so much we have to offer. We really can't wait to see what you build. The sessions this afternoon will dive into more detail on everything we showed you this morning. One more thing. We're actually open sourcing Fernie today, so let's actually jump to the terminal and push it on GitHub live on stage. There we go. And go check out fernie.xyz to get the code on GitHub. So with that, I'd like to thank you so much and welcome Jeff back to the stage to tell you a little more about the rest of the day. We'll see you on the floor. Thank you so much and have a great flight.
So we just wanted to wrap up with a couple of thank yous. And the first is to the hundreds of people at Twitter who have been working on all of this tirelessly for the last year. It's been absolutely amazing. We have an incredible team, and I'm so grateful for all of their help. So thank you, guys. Now it is time for lunch. So lunch will be outside in the big tent immediately behind you, and then we'll come back at 1:30, and there's a whole lot going on. So we have a technical track on mobile with a ton of Twitter engineers. We have a technical track on data with a ton of engineers and data scientists. We'll have a product track in the main room here diving into all of these products that you heard us talk about today. And there's a lightning theater with tons of cool content from people from all across the company out in the tent as well. So thank you again for joining us. Have a great lunch, and we'll see you back here soon.